All right, guys, so we're going to be doing a Master Duel tier list. We have some unconfirmed strategies in Vol Monica in Fire King as well. And we're going to be doing this post the ban list that just came out. It's absolutely crazy. Go ahead and check the video out that has the ban list in case you guys wanted to know about it. Let's go ahead and start off with these strategies and talk about what do I think that they're going to be and how powerful I think that they are. Losing Branded Fusion has not slowed this deck down. I think that Branded is still a really, really good strategy. Branded hasn't lost anything and will continue to be a pretty powerful deck as time comes by. It's just a solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck that will be able to succeed in most situations. I think that Makonko takes a really good pilot. And the reason why I think Makonko takes a really good pilot, we got chat here talking. This is on stream. Let me go ahead and bring up chat really quick. There we go. So I'll let them, as long as they keep it PG, you guys can go ahead and say what you guys have to say about it. But yeah, I think this deck is incredibly annoying and it takes a really good player. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter how good you are. If a player knows the ins and outs of this deck, or if they're just playing a deck that doesn't care, then you're cooked. I also think that Exosister takes a really good pilot. Now, the reason why I think that Exosister should have been a little bit higher is because its price. With the new card, Sakitama, it helped Exosisters out tremendously. But the problem with that is that Sakitama was an ultra rare. It's like, it's really, really, it's such a terrible spot to be in for this deck. Is that it's a decent strategy that requires a good pilot and unfortunately is incredibly expensive. Flundereese, I wouldn't say Xbox crossplay off, but this is probably going to be the last time you hear me talk about Flundereese in Master Duel. This deck hasn't been doing anything other than floundering, and I'm going to go ahead and put in an experimental. I don't think that it's good enough to be able to compete, but when it does pop off, it does do some decent things. I was wrong about this particular strategy. Memento got some support that makes it a really good pilot. We tried playing this deck, and to be honest, we had some fun playing this deck, getting to Masters. We won quite a few games. It is structurally challenged, but if you are a good player, you understand the Memento strategy, and you can make it work. It's not bad. For Labyrinth, I think Labyrinth is also really good. This deck isn't even showing you its true powers just yet, but it has great solid matchups all across the board. It is just a fairly powerful Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And keep in mind the interaction for Eradicator Epidemic Virus is a little bit different in Master Duel than it is in the TCG. In Master Duel, you're able to copy the effect of Eradicator Virus in the graveyard and have its effects work. In the TCG, you can't do that. Heroes, I think Heroes are probably as better as it's ever been. Once Baron and Borload get banned in Master Duel, I think that's when we start to look at some of these other cards and put them probably into top deck, because those are some of the more oppressive cards that players are using to keep players back. But overall, Master Duel Dark Law is going to be a little stronger because Snake Eyes, the Snake Eyes hits and stuff. I think Mathmech is also a really good deck. This deck's not bad. It's one of the most hated decks in Master Duel, and I think we all could agree that this alongside of decks like Flundereese and some other decks are some of the most hated easily. But we're not going to deny that it's one card combos and tons of hand traps is the reason why it stays pretty successful. I'm going to go ahead and put Dark Magician and Xbox crossplay off. Now, I do have a couple of guys that will show me their Dark Magician Chimera deck and be like, yo, this deck's top tier. It's really the best of the best. And it's going to be some cool replays. And again, if you guys have any replays or stuff that you want to put out there that you want to show us, go ahead and just follow all the rules. We got some replays that we're going to be watching today. DM can cook. Pure Arc. See, here we go. Here we go. Now, I already knew it was going to happen. It always happens, chat. This is the deck that everybody loves, but no one wants to admit it's just not good enough. I would put Punk in experimental. I wouldn't even say it takes a really good pilot because Punk loses to way too many things that some of these other decks does, and it doesn't have a instant win button. Something that, well, I guess Makonko is the only real one with the instant win button, but it doesn't have a card that just wins the game. Like, if Exo Sisters get their plan going, they pretty much win the game. Memento, I ain't gonna lie, if it does summon at 5,000 attack monster, it's kind of crazy. Psychic and Punisher is good, but it doesn't seem like it does enough in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. Ironically, Unchained is weird in Master Duel. I'm gonna put it in takes a really good pilot. The problem with Unchained is that not only does it take multiple 2-card combos, guys, you need multiple 2 cards in hand. You also need to know how to play the deck. It's not just some brainless deck you could just sit down and play. It genuinely does take a lot of skill. This is the strongest of the takes a good pilot decks, but it's still pretty good. I haven't seen a single Super Heavy Samurai player since the hits that have been happening, chat. I've seen Super Heavy Samurai as in other strategies, and this may be a little bold, but I'm going to put Super Heavy Samurai in experimental. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that Super Heavy Samurai, those hits to Super Heavy Samurai, similar to the hits that happen to Snake Die, are going to be a lot more powerful than what people are giving credit. On my way to Masters, we did not see any Super Heavy Samurai, like literally any. I haven't received any Super Heavy Samurai pure replays. We've been researching and doing everything about Super Heavy Samurai. I think that the deck lost enough consistency for some of the other strategies to be able to prevail. Now, I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong. So I really want to hear what you guys have to say. And I definitely think that Super Heavy Samurai is way stronger than these 2 decks, right? But it is literally disappeared. And like Mr. Taco Shark it's low-key a brick deck now. Red Dragon Archfiend, I think Red Dragon Archfiend takes a good pilot. If the rumor about us getting Centurion cards is true with the Centurion Arceola, this deck is mad good. It gets way better. You guys don't even want to see what I'm cooking in the kitchen with this deck. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Red Dragon Archfiend actually does have the ability to just win games, and it's a fairly powerful deck. I think Vanquish Soul is experimental. I think one of the biggest losses for Vanquish Soul was Castira Fenrir. Not having enough good Earth targets to be able to play is definitely detrimental for the deck. But more importantly, this deck takes a good pilot and is just simply harder to play. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in experimental. I don't think that it's a bad deck, kind of like Super Heavy Samurai, but it requires a lot of work. Sprite just got Sprite Jet to 2. Now, not sure why I would put Sprite here. I still think that Sprite is experimental. Sprite Jet to 2 doesn't seem like it does enough. But you still have Totally Awesome Band. There's still the Nimble cards being hit. It's a good engine. I don't know about it being a good deck. Sword Soul, Patterson's going to hate me when I say this. Sword Soul's bad. I just got to come out and admit it, chat. So, and hear me out. The same 2-card combos that you use for Sword Soul, Unchained does it better. Red Dragon does it better. Like, there's so many other strategies that just do it better. The only thing that's holding Sword Soul together right now is Baron de Fleur. And if you're hinging your deck on a generic card that has been banned in the TCG for a good reason, you're in trouble. There's no way around it, chat. You're in trouble. It's a great budget deck, but I wouldn't expect to do a lot of things with this deck anymore. Blue Eyes, same thing as Dark Magician. Cross-play off, guys. Don't even try it. Pearly, still want a really, really good deck, right? I don't think Blue Eyes Tier 0 is crazy work. I don't think Pearly is bad, and I think it does get stronger in this particular Banlist. Monadium, I think Monadium takes a really good pilot. I don't think it's a bad deck. I think it's a pretty decent deck, right? I think it's going to be something that does a lot of things. I think that Sky Striker, even with the new support, this one's tough. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt because cards like Sky Striker Camellia and getting engaged at 3, I think that those are going to be the big points, the big selling points for Sky Striker. I'm going to give them a little bit of leeway, even though I do think that there probably takes a really good pilot. I'm going to say that they're really good. The biggest problem with this deck is going to be expense. Dinomorphia easily takes a really good pilot. Dinomorphia is a solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's just a really good deck that can win games. Still, Snake Eyes, for now, I think it's still one of the best decks. I think what will push Snake Eyes out is when we get later into the format, I think Labyrinth and Branded will start to be played a lot more. And those decks will help push Snake Eyes out of the big three. And it'll be just Fire King Snake Eyes or Rescue Ace Snake Eyes that'll be the best decks being played at that given moment. I think that's what's going to happen. What version of Pearly do I think strongest right now? There was a Ghost Trick version of Pearly that was crazy, but I've never been a fan of increasing the ceiling of the deck at the cost of consistency. So pure Pearly is probably still what I'll always go with, like a pure version, a nice solid list that can play board breakers or hand traps, right? Earthbound, I don't even know why this is still in here. That's Xbox Cross Playoff. Chimera, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys the truth. Chimera's not good. It's a fun deck, but no Apprentice Illusion, no Apprentice Nightmare, no Master of Tau. Konami really did give this deck the complete shaft when it came to being able to play. I don't think it's that good right now. I think Sarcophagus decks are heavily underrated. I think they're really good and slept on. And I also think that Solomon Great is incredibly good as well. Actually, maybe closer to takes a really good pilot, to be honest with you. I forgot about Rika. Oh, Rika would be takes a good pilot. I guess I took it off. I thought I had it on here. Last would be Volmonica. Now, if there's anything to believe, Volmonica will get the same amount of support that Memento had. So it'll get all of the support before the new set, Infinite Forbidden. Yeah, no, that's definitely Xbox Cross Playoff. And these are my thoughts on the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. I think that there's a lot of strategies that can come out and compete. I think one of the biggest things about Master Duel is Nibiru does not exist. It's not even a real card. Cards like Ghost Bell don't exist. They're not real cards for some reason. And there are certain things that you can just completely ignore in the Master Duel that you would have to be punished for in the OCG and the TCG. But again, let me know what you guys think. And if you guys think that I missed a particular strategy, or if you guys think that I put a strategy too low, go ahead and send in a replay. Follow the rules down below, and I can't wait to see what you guys have to show us.